All right, here we go, guys. I wanted to do a very short reminder video. Here comes the series. Get ready, because we have been putting together so much detailed information. This basically spans the ministry, the beginning from when I got saved and the revelation of the information till now. Because here's the thing. A lot of people have come in at a midway point. They don't understand half the stuff that I'm talking about because they missed all the stuff previously. So for those of y'all that understand what's going on, you understand the right side up, upside down paradigm, how to recognize that you're in Satan's world and that you were awakened on a world that you don't even belong to anymore. Well, that's awesome that you've got it. For those of y'all that don't fully understand, or you may have some pieces of the puzzle that you haven't figured out yet, you came in late on, I'm going to go through a comprehensive video series like court admissible evidence to show you irrefutably that all this information is completely 100% accurate. Now, and you're going to see who's behind it. You're going to see how it's being perpetrated upon you. And the thing I want you to understand is this link that is right here. I will put a link to this in the description box. This is description box. I'm sorry. This is very important stuff right here. We have meticulously gone through and put all this information in here. And each one of these boxes is its own separate thing. And I mean, this will probably end up being maybe 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We're talking maybe 14 hours of video. Maybe. Because each section, it's going to be real easy to do 2 hours per section. So, this is comprehensive. This is like going into the courtroom with Satan's attorney and saying, okay, I'm going to present all the evidence to, put this guy in his own cell. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Where we have these different sections. This one's called Alien. This one's called Pyramid Reversals, The Snare, U.S. Currency. Let me give you an example. I'm going to use the U.S. currency right now just to give you an example. And I'm going to show you it's comprehensive. But the other thing is I'm still working on organizing this link just a little bit because I want to show you guys some stuff. I want to make sure everything's in perfect presentation order. When I give it to you, I don't want to be jumping around from place to place. I want to go smooth and pragmatically. Let me give you an example. So we're looking at a top row here, okay? And what you're looking at is you're looking at the sigil of Baphomet. And if you go type that into Google, you just go, I'll do it for you. This is the way this is going to work. I'm going to give you all the definitions so there's nothing left to chance. There's no way to argue the point because you'll have all the definitions. So I'll type in sigil of Baphomet, okay? And so here it is. There it is right there on the screen. Okay, the sigil of Baphomet is the official insignium of the Church of Satan. And here it is. Here's a picture of it. See that black star, or the circle with the upside down star? Look at that bottom horizontal line of the star. You see that? That is the official insignium of the Church of Satan, and it is trademarked and copyrighted by the Church of Satan. It first appeared on the cover of the Satanic Mass LP in 1968, and later on the cover of the Satanic Bible in 1969. That's very deliberate. They did that for a reason. 69, because they know everything's a reversal too, because they're the keepers of the slaves. Satan is the keeper of the slaves. Remember that. Okay, so anyway, so I just showed you the definition of the sigil of Baphomet. Now let's go back to the U.S. currency. So now I have an image here of the sigil of Baphomet, and I have it right next to another image of the sigil of Baphomet without the image of the goat on it. So like I said, I'm going to be very pragmatic in the approach. I'm going to show you everything. So if you take this star right here, and you slide it over here, you'll see it's the identical star. So we're dealing with the sigil of Baphomet in both places. And so I'm going to just make the argument, well, they're one and the same. So here's the sigil of Baphomet, here's the sigil of Baphomet. I went ahead and I cut the goat out and I dropped it in there to make it easy for you to see. Then down here I've gone and I've shown you Washington, D.C., the layout of the streets. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to go look it up yourself. Don't be lazy. Go do it yourself. It is designed by a Freemason, Pierre Charles Lafontaine, in 1797 or whatever it is. And now here is the same sigil of Baphomet. It's missing this little piece right here. But for the street design to be that and to be perfect, and the White House is right here at the bottom of the star of the sigil of Baphomet. This is the seat of power in the United States. This is where all power, all legislation, the way that runs the country, that deals with foreign countries, everything comes out of this place right here, which is at the tip of the star of the Church of Satan. That is where the White House is. That is a fact. I'm giving you straight up facts. These are facts. This is how this whole thing is going to go. I'm going to give you the facts. So now I've taken the image from the map of Washington, D.C., the outline of the streets. It was laid out in the pentagram, same as the Church of Satan, the sigil of Baphomet, the official insignia of the Church of Satan. So now I've shown you, I've proven to you that, you know, we have these sigil of Baphomets that are the Church of Satan. We have this other one that's inside a pentagram on the yellow background. And we also have the same thing that is the layout of the streets of Washington, D.C. These are facts. I mean, they're unarguable. Yeah, I can present it in a court of law and say, well, would you like to look at a Google map of Washington, D.C.? Okay, well, let's pull it up. Let's connect all these corners and they make this perfect star. So that is a fact. It's unarguable. Can't argue with it. Okay, then I'll take another fact. I'll go down here to the next row. And I will say, okay, here is an image of the old $20 bill. This one was made series 1963. So this particular $20 bill is 1963. It's been around at least since then. And so then I'm going to put these bills in a uniform folding pattern. And when I do that, I'm going to show you your enemy. I'm going to show you that there is no war on terror. I'm going to prove to you it's all a bunch of lies. And it has been since the inception of this country. Satan has planned it out. He's got his own plan for the New World Order, and this is it. So then what I'll do is I'll say, okay, I'm going to do a uniform folding pattern right here, and I'm going to click on this thing, and I folded this bill in order to make this image. And so there's the image. And then what I'll do is I'll say, okay, well, let's look at this image, and I'm going to do this live for you. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to click on a Google image search, Google Images, and then I'm going to type in the Alfred P. Mora building. There it is, Oklahoma City. Okay, so here's the Alfred P. Mora building that was blown up. I want you to look I'm going to click on this image right here, okay? This image here has these very clear, you know, that's a very unusual side of a building. It's kind of rounded. You see it right there? It almost looks tubular coming down the side here and this face. So this is the side of the building. This is the side. This is the front face of the building over here. This is the part that was blown off, and on both sides it looks just like this. So let me show you something. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have these 6 long rectangular openings, windows, that are between these 2 corners. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're looking at the side of the Alfred P. Mora building. And now I'm going to go back to the $20 bill that was made in 1963. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And here's those tubular corners coming down. And here's an explosion coming out of the building. Well, there's a lot of other ink right in here too. Now, this is really fascinating. I took these bills back in, 2001 and 2002. I was showing everybody this stuff. A lot of people say, oh, no, you're not the one that did. Wrong. You're wrong. Back in 2003, there was a website called clearpath.com, and someone came and bought the URL out from under me and closed down the site. But I was showing this to people in 2003. There was a full-fledged site called clearpath.com. Anyway, the first image was the Twin Towers. Someone showed me that there was a likeness of the Twin Towers on the new $20 bill, and that's when the Lord showed me, I'm going to show you the key to understanding all of it, Jonathan. And so here's the key. So here is an image of the federal building. Let's look at it again. There's the federal building blowing up. You're looking at the side of the building. Let's look at the side of the building. There it is. So on the $20 bill, there it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. So we've identified the $20 bill, but we're going to do better than that. I did these bills way back, in 2002, and I had some older technology, Windows 95, and I had a Twain, I think 72 or 92 scanner. Well, in that particular program of PaintShop Pro, you were able to scroll and identify the different layers of ink. Now, if you try and scan these bills into your scanner, let me tell you what's going to happen to your scanner. Your scanner is going to stop, and it's going to say, this is not allowed. I just tried doing it. I tried to get a new scanner and create all new files, but because the Windows 95 computer died and they said it was not recoverable, all that stuff. But I still have the files. I have the old files. I wanted to create new files, couldn't do it. So anyway, so let's look real quick. Here's the old 20. We fold it in this particular image right here. In this way, we folded it. And it shows the Alfred P. Murrah building. We just established that. So now I'm going to draw around the perimeter of this bill. And if I draw around the perimeter of the bill, I'm just going to try out my drawing tool just for fun. Anyway, this thing's very touchy. So if we draw around the perimeter of the bill, like so, there you go. That's the perimeter. Just like I did over here. I'm going to erase that now. Okay, so we drew around the perimeter of the bill, and then we pick the bill up, and we simply connect the vertices behind here. So we go from here to here. Oops, this is very touchy. And we go like this. There we go. And so if I did it with a ruler, you would get this image over here. Like I said, it's a very touchy program. So anyway, so if we draw around the perimeter of this bill, then we end up with this exact image. That's the sigil of Baphomet. Let's go and look. So the Church of Satan. So court admissible evidence. I just took the old $20 bill made in 1963. I folded it in this pattern, and it reveals an identical likeness of the Alfred P. Murrah building blowing up. It's identical. It's unarguable. It's exactly what it is. And so now we have a bit of a problem. We have a building that's blown up, that's printed on U.S. currency. And as you can go look yourself, and you can identify, this side of the building yourself. Yeah, there's the side of the building. Here's the side of the building. Now here's another image. Here's an image of the side of the building with these long rectangular windows, and now the front of the building's been blown off. Let's leave that. Now this is after the explosion. I want to show you. Okay, now we're going to go back, and we're going to take this same bill, and we're going to turn it over and look at the other side of the bill. Okay, now don't forget, this is the $20 bill that was made in, this is 1963. That's right here. You can look at it. I had a friend of mine send me this particular bill. Okay, well, before we turn this over, I'm gonna enhance these layers right here. This is from a video I did. It's called Destruction of America. So here is the image enhanced, just magnified. And you can see that there's these unidirectional lines right here going down on both sides. That's look at that ink. You see that? Let me try and blow it up. Yeah, you see these lines? They all go the same direction. And some are thicker than the others. That's because these end up being smoke expanding and debris falling. Watch. So on this one side of the bill, here's another layer. There's 3 layers I've identified. Okay, now there it is again. Now these layers are being more obvious. And as you expand the magnification of these layers, you see that these layers become more obvious, much more obvious. Now let's expand it again. And let's see what we got. There we go. There's your Alfred P. Moore building blowing up. And I love you in Christ, but I don't care what anybody says. This is a supernatural gift. This is the gift of knowledge, discernment. This is a revelation gift. Once again, my name, Jonathan, means Yahweh is given. Klek means a messenger that rings the bell, sounds the alarm, also gathers the church. So the name Klek is a symbol of a bell itself. It's a variant of the word Glock. And it's someone who lived by a church bell and rang the bell to gather the church, or to use a handbell to draw attention to sound an alarm. And that's what I'm doing. I'm sounding an alarm. I'm telling you guys, here comes the enemy. Okay, so I just took an old $20 bill and I've identified very clearly on this bill that was this bill right here, picture H2, I folded it in the shape of a pentagram, and on this side you have an image of the Alfred P. Moore building, clearly identified with long rectangular windows, 6 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same as the building itself, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Identical match. So court admissible evidence. There is a very good likeness of the building. Now, if anyone wants to argue with this, then here's your challenge. Here's your secular challenge. I'm going to give you a hypothesis right now. Here's my hypothesis, that the U.S. currency notes are a vehicle of distribution for Satan to spread his satanic agenda, showing he is in control of everything, including the bombings of the buildings and those that make the currency notes, and he is God of this world. This is what his use of the U.S. currency is, to show him as God. That's why he's doing this. He's showing he's the one in control of everything. He's in control of the buildings being built, what the bombings look like, when the bombings are going to happen, because you're looking at the bombings on the money. By the way, when you have a sigil, which is, the Church of Satan, the official insignia, and you have a U.S. currency note that is in the same orientation, what it is, it becomes a spell. He's like casting a spell. Money is the currency for this world, which is Satan's world. So as people pass around all these currency notes with it, it's really a spell, because this is how Satan does his economy on this earth. People want money to get stuff, and they steal, lie, cheat, and steal to get money, and it's casting a spell on them the whole time. That's why you can't serve God and mammon, because mammon is the devil's currency, okay? And on the currency are hidden spells, and you're looking at one of them. I'm showing you a spell, okay? So there is here it is. Here's the Alfred P. Moore building, the side of the building. Here it is next to the sigil of Baphomet. It's identical. Here is the building blowing up. Here's the concussion waves expanding. And here is the smoke expanding. Identified clearly. Well, let's turn that bill over. We're going to turn the bill over, and you get this image right here. Now, I want to show you something. I'll click on it, and I want everybody to understand that everything above this horizontal line is what we're going to be looking at. Let me see if I can get this to go back to the middle of the screen. There we go. Okay, let me get my drawing tool. So your next image is going to be everything that's above this line. And when you get above this line, you're going to see here's that Alfred P. Maurer building. Here's the side of the building going this way. Here's the edge of the building right here. And you'll see these light posts, and here's the floors sticking out right here. And here's the floors sticking out right here. There you go. Okay, and here's the front of the building that's blown off. Now, let's go ahead and enhance that and have a look at it. Okay, let's just take a look. Okay, so I'm going to erase what I drew. Now, you can see what I was talking about, but let's go ahead and enlarge it a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and we're going to do a little bit of an enlarged view right here so you can see it a little more clearly. And there we go. So here you go. Here's the edge of the building, and these are the images of the floors that have been bought. You know, you can see right here these white lines sticking out right there. And then, you know, the building right here, and here's all your smoke and stuff. So, you know, here's the structure of the building blown up. There it is. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go back, and I want to show you something. So now on the back side of this bill, everything above that horizontal line, I just showed you the floors sticking out. Let's look at the Alfred P. Maurer building. Okay, so here we go. So there you go. Here's the, here we go. Here's the side of the building. Here's those floors. This is the actual building. I mean, this isn't the currency note. This is the actual building itself. You're looking at the Alfred P. Maurer building after the explosion. There you go. So there's a template for it. I just drew it in very quickly. Obviously, you can see it. It is the building itself. Now let's go back and let's identify it. Okay, so let's go back and have a look. Okay, so I'm just waiting on the program to go back. Oh, I have to erase it. Oops. Sorry, we're going to have to open it up again. So I'll go back to that, and here we go. We'll go to U.S. currency right here. Okay, so now we're back here at the Alfred P. Maurer building. Okay, so I've turned the same $20 bill, this $20 bill, over. I've shown you the side of the building, the explosion, the actual event happening. So here it is, blowing up. You trace around it, Sigil of Baphomet, Church of Satan, hit, expanding, expanded, explosion. We turn this bill over. Here's the building blown in half with the floors sticking out. Let's identify it one more time. Okay, so we have the floors, very obviously the same image. There's the building itself. We can see the structure up of the building. There we go. There's the structure of the building, and let's see, here's the floors sticking out right there. There's the side of the building right there. Here's the other part of the building and the floors. And then this is the cavity that's been blown out of the building. This represents the side of the side of the building. Okay, so there it is. So that's the $20 bill that was made when I was a kid. I was born in '62. Oops. I keep forgetting to erase. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's go straight from here to here. We'll go straight from this to this right here. And let's see, let's identify it. There they are, look. There's those floors jutting out, see? There's the floors jutting out, just like that. There's the smoke, side of the building. So that's just one bill. That's just one bill. That's the old currency note. the old $20 bill. Now this bill was replaced in 1996, I believe. Yeah. Okay, so I want you to look. Here is picture B8. Here's the actual image of the Alfred P. Murrah building. And here is the image on the U.S. currency note laid right on top. That is a complete bust. You can see it. That's the bill. You see the bill? See the lines? See the same lines on the bill? So we've computer generated, and we've laid one layer on top of the next, and we've clearly identified the building blown in half. Completely identified. Now, as you know, as we expand this, it shows smoke expanding also. That's just one currency note. Nobody knew that was on the U.S. currency. That was something the Lord made available to me back in 2002. Right after I had seen the Twin Tower image on the U.S. currency note. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the Twin Towers. I see that I have some other images of the Twin Towers I'd like to move on this section. I'll have my guy I work with, Dave the Wave, move those for you so we can see on this next image. So I'm just going to go ahead, since I've already started, I'm just going to go ahead and continue this currency section. I'd actually planned on showing you the alien section first, but I guess, you know, the way the Lord leads, I guess this is going to be his deal. So here we go. Let's look at the new $20 bill that was produced in 1996. So let's go ahead and have a look at this one. Okay. I'm gonna just type into Google. I'm doing this live. We're doing this together. What year did the new $20 bill come out? There we go. What year did the new $20 bill come out? On October 9th. No, that's not. Let's see. Oh. No. Shading the screen. No, this is not the same one. What was a $20 bill created before, on, or after 9/11? No, there's a $20 bill that came out there. When did the design of the $20 bill change is what it is, because it came out here in 1998 $20 bill. There you go. Okay, this is the $20 bill. Images for the 1998 $20 bill right there. Okay, so let's have a look at it. Okay, yep, it's got the larger face of Jefferson. The front has changed and the back has changed. So the here you go, right here. There it is. So here you go. This is the bill that was produced in 1998. This is a changed bill. Okay, you see the back? This back is different. This is the bill we just looked at right here. You see the back of the bill? It's a very different building on the back than this building right here. This building shows you the Alfred P. Murrah when it's folded in the shape of a pentagram. This has a little face of Jefferson. The new one that came out in 1996 has this image on it. Okay, so there you go. So you can go look that up yourself. 1998 $20 bill. This is the one right here. Okay, so now I will go back to this. There is your 1998 U.S. currency note. This one actually says 2001 on it. Okay, so there it is. The back has changed significantly. I want everybody to look at this image right here in the back. Okay, now let's go back to the older note that said 1963 on it. Okay, because the bombing of the Alfred P. Murrah building was in 1995, I believe. So, here we go. There is the old $20 bill. This, when you make a pentagram, it shows you the Alfred P. Murrah building bombing for sure. No doubt about it. We've identified it clearly. Okay, this bill, this one on the bill itself says 1963 series. So this has been around for a long time. So let's go to here and let's just look. So we have all our facts in a row, so no one can argue with this. So Satan's attorney cannot raise an argument. Okay, when was the federal building bombing in Oklahoma City bombed? April 19th, 1995. So how do you get a bill that was produced before 1995? And how do you get that building? How do you get a bill that was produced back in the 60s to match a bombing that happened in the 90s? Try and wrap your brain around that. Okay, and then when was the federal building in Oklahoma City built? Let's see. Okay, December 9th, 2000, and let's see. I believe it was in the 80s is when it went up. Just one moment. Okay, the federal building in Oklahoma City, construction and use, was designed by architect Wendell Locke and says reinforced concrete in 1977. It was named after federal judge Alfred P. Murrah. Okay. Okay, so it was constructed in 1977. So now we have ascertained, and there it is right there in Wikipedia, there it is, same building. So now we have determined quite conclusively that the Alfred P. Murrah building that was built in 77, there was a bill in circulation, a spell, the sigil of Baphomet, that showed the bombing of that very building before it was ever even built. Just proved it. Just proved it, folks. That's proven. Okay, so now we've proven that the bombing of the Alfred P. Murrah building was done on purpose. Well, what was the result of that? What happened? I mean, well, there was all kinds of legislation that came into effect, like the Patriot Act. And then we started bolstering up the Department of Homeland Security, terrorist terrorist hunt organizations, surveillance state, need to put cameras everywhere, stuff like that. Patriot Act, okay? Think Patriot Act. Now that we've identified on one bill, not only do you have the building blowing up, and not only can you see the smoke expanding and the building blowing up, but when you turn it over, you can see the building blown in half, and it's clearly identifiable. It's identical. And when you pick up the bill, it's got the sigil of Baphomet. Let me quote Isaiah. Those who try and hide their plans from the Lord are doomed. They carry out their schemes in secret and think no one will see them or know what they're doing. They turn everything upside down. Well, when you fold that bill up and you make your little pyramid shape, with it, it actually looks like a little side view of a house. Well, then you turn that upside down, you see what their plans are. Those who hide their plans from the Lord, they turn everything upside down. That's Isaiah 29, 15, and 16. I'll quote the King James off the top of my head. Woe unto them. You know what? Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Let's just show it to you. I want to make sure you see it. Don't take my word for it. Isaiah 29. We'll do the King James. Okay. Isaiah 29:15. And woe unto them who seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the dark. And they say, who seeth us? Who knoweth us? Sure. So no one can see them, and no one knows who they are. They say, who seeth us? Who knoweth us? Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. God's the potter, we're the clay. If you're esteemed as the potter's clay, that means you belong to God. So, esteemed as a potter's clay. So if you turn everything upside down to see the truth, which is what the Lord told me to do the night I got saved, then you belong to God. It's pretty simple. So let's go down here and look at some more stuff. Let's look at the new 20 that was made in 98, right? So here it is. I want y'all to have a look at that. Okay, so here we go. So now we have a new $20 bill, a new currency note. It is another spell. Satan's currency is mammon. This is mammon. These are papers that have assigned values that Satan, produces in order to get stuff, whatever it is, resources. You can buy goods and services with Satan's currency. That's why people that love money love Satan, because Satan, this is his currency. God's currency is different. God's currency is love, faith. And, he has a different currency on this world. That's not how God does business. So anyway, so here's a new one. I want you to look at the back. I want you to look at this. I want to show you something about trees. I'm an artist. You see these trees? That's not a very good tree. Let's see. Here we go. I want you to look at trees that are supposed to be balanced. A tree is always as tall as it is wide, at least. So, when you're looking at a tree like this, which, I guess they're trying to make it look like some kind of an oak or something like that. But here's the thing. Look at the tree coming out all the way over here. Let me show you with my thing. Okay. So here's the edge of the tree right here, right? Well, there's no tree going up this way, is there? No, there's not. Where's the trunk? Even if you put a trunk right there, look at the tree. So we can't see the trunk. So if the trunk was there, how jacked up, lopsided would that tree be? It's pretty messed up. This tree also is unbalanced. This is not a balanced tree, even if the trunk was there. This tree should go up more. So anyway, these trees are very odd. This is not very good art. Well, there's a lot of kids in high school and even pre-high school that can do trees that smoke that. My son, who's 12 years old, can draw trees. He's a pretty good artist too. And I think he could do way better on that than balance. That's just not real good. Okay, so you have these weird trees right here. You also have these interesting lines right here. You have these lines right here. Well, let's go ahead and make this into the sigil of Baphomet. Let's turn this note into the same exact folding pattern as the other note. So now I want to give you guys that think you're smart with your secular arguments, I'm going to give you a scientific argument. If you're trying to tell me that these images randomly occur on U.S. currency, then by your argument, you should be able to go get some other currency notes from some other countries. You should be able to fold those denominations of, Deutschmarks, or, go get some other world currency, go get some pesos, and you should be able to fold them and show me images of bombings. And if your argument is, oh, well, you're just, seeing what you want to see, well, then you should be able to reproduce this by using other currency notes from other countries, if this is just some crazy anomaly. So let's see if you can do that. I don't think you can. So anyway, so here we go. We have taken the new $20 bill that was made in 1998. The Twin Towers were bombed in 2001, 9/11, 2001 is the bombing of the building. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the note after we've folded it in the shape of a sigil of the Church of Satan. There you go. Well, that looks very much like the Twin Tower bombing to me, but it's going to look even more so when we take a look at this. If these are the towers and they were the same height, let's go to the top up here. If we were to draw a line, let's say these were the Twin Towers, they would have to be the twin, so they'd have to be the same height. So there would be basically a line here, go down like that, and there would be one tower, and there would be the other tower. So, but on this image, we can't see any tower because of these trees, which actually become smoke. So let's just take a look and see what we get when we look at the Twin Towers now. So here's an image on a U.S. currency note. Right here. This is U.S. currency note right here. And let's go look at the Twin Tower bombing. So let's look right here. Now remember the point of impact. Okay, so here we go. Those are the actual Twin Towers. So you see a building going up, and then all you see is black smoke down to this point. Let's just draw it in. So down to about right here, or whatever. Right. I just don't want anyone to think I'm fudging anything. Let's say to about right here. And then there's all this smoke and stuff, right? And then the other building, there's smoke right here. You see the rest of the building. Okay, let's erase that. Just have a look at it. Okay, now let's go back to the image on the U.S. currency note. So here's the actual Twin Tower bombing itself. And so let's go look at the U.S. currency note. You know what? Let's just put them side by side. Let's just do that. Here we go. Here they are side by side. So let's do a comparative analysis of the U.S. currency note alongside the actual bombing of the Twin Towers. And here, let me there you go. So there you go. There you go. That's identical. That is absolutely identical. It's not even sort of identical. It is identical. Those are the points of impact are the same. Here's one impact down low right here, down low. There's another impact up high, up high. So now the points of impact are identical. So now we have a bigger problem. We have a much larger problem here. Okay, so okay, here we go. Let me see if I can get out of this particular screen. Okay, just erase. Okay, we had a little bit of a program freeze, but all is well. So now we have, let's see, now we have the Alfred P. Murrah building identified with 6 long rectangular windows with those very unique rounded corners of the side of the building blowing up. You trace around, you have the Sigil of Baphomet, the Church of Satan. There is the image of the Alfred P. Murrah building blowing up, smoke expanding. There it is. You turn the bill over, there's the building identified, blown in half. Same thing, Sigil of Baphomet, Church of Satan. Okay, here are the images of the floor sticking out, identical here and here. Enlarge these yourself. I will give you the link. We've clearly identified both sides of the old currency note on the $20 bill to be identical to the bombing and aftermath of the federal building in Oklahoma City. There was no conspiracy. It's printed on your money. There was no the Timothy McVeigh thing. It's a setup. So now we have the new currency note made in 1998, before the bombing of the Twin Tower, to be exact same thing as the old $20 bill note. The note was made way before the bombing of the building, or the building was even built. Now we have the Twin Tower bombing, clearly identified, clearly identified on the $20 bill. Now, I've told y'all before, I've done some videos on what these Twin Towers really stand for. They really stand for the wheat and the weeds. They stand for twins. In Satan's economy, he's mocking the fact that there's the wheat and the weeds on this planet. And he's saying there's no longer two. The reason he bombed them is saying the two have become one. That's why they built the One World Freedom Tower. But I also have a very supernatural gift. You can go see that in a video I did called Crowning the Tyrant. I'll put some links for all this for you. Okay, let's go back now. So now we've identified the Twin Towers. So now we have a major problem here in the United States. We have a major problem. We have identified the Twin Towers as well as the federal building bombing on the two currency notes. Well, let's turn this thing over. We'll take this exact same note right here, this one right here, and we're going to look on the back side of that note, and that's right here. So let's go ahead and enlarge this, and let's have a look. Okay, once again, and this is a little lopsided on the fold, but that's okay. You'll still be able to see it. Okay, so everything above that line is what we're looking at. Everything above this black line is what we're looking at. Now I'm going to draw in a rectangular building that's white. There it is. There's the top of the building. Here's 3 rows of square windows. Look very closely. There's 1, 2, 3 rows of square windows. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. Now, there's another part of that rectangular building right here. And then all in here, you have smoke and fire. So you have a rectangular building, and you have 3 rows of square windows, and you have smoke and fire. That is on the back side of the Twin Tower bombing. Well, let's go and have a look. Let's identify things. Court admissible evidence. Let's go back. Okay, so now here we go. Now we have an image that I'm going to enlarge it a little bit. This is a same thing. Okay, here we go. Okay, so there we go. Let me take my tool one more time. And this is a little bit fuzzy, but there we go. So here's our rectangular building. Here's all this smoke and fire. Smoke. There's 1, 2, 3 rows of square windows. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. And there's 1, 2, 3 rows of square windows. And there's that rectangular building like that. So now, if the Pentagon is a rectangular building with 3 rows of square windows, we have a really serious problem. By the way, I don't know if y'all know this, but in the offices where the missile hit, by the way, it wasn't a plane. There was no plane debris. Go do your homework. There was no plane debris. And by the way, I've gone and listened to the interviews of the witnesses and their depositions from the people that were there the day of the bombing, and there was no airplane. There was one that flew low over the Pentagon, and there was a guard on the back of the Pentagon loading dock that saw this plane fly over as he heard an explosion, and that was to give the illusion that some people, oh, I saw a plane, but then there was a missile that hit the Pentagon. You can see the video of it. Okay, so anyway, so here's the image we just looked at of the Pentagon. Well, let's take a look at an image of the Pentagon here real quick. Okay, here's an image of the Pentagon. It is a rectangular building. It is a rectangular building. And there's 1, 2, 3 rows of square windows. Oh my gosh. You can see those square windows right here. 1, 2, and 3. There's 3 rows of square windows. Some big bad guy named Osama bin Laden, some guy named Osama bin Laden, by the way, who was allegedly killed by SEAL Team 6, and he happened to be buried at sea, so no one got any closure. All the people that died in the Twin Tower bombing, all those families, no closure. They didn't bring his body here and at least let people see here he is. No, they threw it in the ocean and they disposed of the body conveniently so nobody got to see it. And then, oddly enough, I mean, just wow. I mean, the guys that killed him, SEAL Team 6, all mysteriously died, all of them, in a helicopter crash. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back and let's identify this. So let me show you this image right here. I've taken this image off the $20 bill. I cropped it and I put it down here in the same program back in 2002, I believe, is when I did this. And let's have a look at what this looks like. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here is the image that is above that black line. And here is a long rectangular building. There's 1, 2, 3 rows of square windows. You can see them right here, here, and here, 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 and here, 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 and here. Okay, so now here's an impact. And look at all the smoke expanding. Look at this. Nice. Look at all that smoke expanding. Wow. Look at that. See all the smoke? See the different layers of smoke? So now we have on only 2 currency notes the bombings of the Federal Building blowing up, the Federal Building blown in half, the Twin Tower bombing. Oh, by the way, I want to show you something. Here's the image of the Twin Towers. Let's go back and revisit it. I forgot to show you something. I'm sorry. I didn't flow smoothly. Here's the image of the Twin Tower. There's other layers of ink in here, I told you. Let me show you those other layers of ink. When I get this particular link reorganized, I'll have these images up where they belong. Let me show you very quickly. Here's an image of the Twin Towers with different layers of ink. You'll see here it is. Here's the same images of the buildings and the smoke expanding. Now there's other layers of ink. Let me show you very quickly what those layers look like. By the way, you can see this in Destruction of America. It's a DVD I did. And you can get those DVDs for free, everybody. We'll send them out to you for free. There you go. There it is. There's the smoke expanding. That's pretty good. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive that they got those layers of ink in there. And once again, when you turn all this over, you have the sigil of Baphomet. I want to clearly identify the Pentagon for you. Here you go. I'm going to go give you a close-up. 1, 2, 3 rows of square windows. There you go. You can go pull up the Pentagon and you can go look at it yourself. These are actual images of the Pentagon that are in the video I did called Destruction of America. There you go. Rectangular building, 3 rows of square windows. Here's the smoke. Here it is. Look right here, all the smoke and the fire and rectangular building. Now let's go back and just have another quick revisit to the image on the U.S. currency. There's the image on the U.S. currency. It's identical. So there's no war on terror, people. I don't care what anybody says. No, there's not. There is a terrorist behind the scenes. The man or the creature pulling the strings. His name is Satan, Lucifer, the fallen one. Yep, the evil one. And so now we're going to go ahead and put them side by side, and we'll go ahead and have a look. Okay, so here is the image on the U.S. currency over here on the left. Here's a rectangular building, smoke expanding, other rectangular building, 3 rows of square windows. Here it is over here, right next to it, rectangular building, smoke expanding, impact, and rectangular building. Identical. Court admissible evidence. So let's consider what was the legislation, what was the result of these bombings. There was the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, which made you slaves. It increased the surveillance state. There was the NDRP, the National Defense Resources Preparedness Act. I don't care how much food or water or gasoline or natural resources that you think you have stocked up. You don't own them. You do not own them. The government owns them according to the National Defense Resources Preparedness Act. They own all natural resources. And if they want to take them and give them to their troops or their guys, they may take them and give them to them because they own them now. Because of the legislation that came from these bombings. Because of these big old nasty bad guys that came and blew up all our stuff. They own it. And they did away with what's called posse comitatus, which means you cannot have a militarized police force. No martial law. You can't have the military policing our people. So now they're coming for your guns. Now they want to take your guns. That's the final act of enslavement. So they have things like Sandy Hook, which is a complete lie. Sandy Hook is a lie. Go do your homework. No one was killed. It's ridiculous. Okay, now let's look at some other stuff. I've shown you 2 bills, and you have 4 images of bombings on 2 bills. There's what's called the law of large numbers. It's what operates all casinos. Every casino is operated on the law of large numbers, and the casinos are set up that they cannot lose. Okay, you have statistically blown away any possibility of any other reality by what I've shown you. Let me give you an example. If you understand anything about math and the x and the y axis, if you start at 0, and let me just give you an example of what that would be. If you have an x, there's your x and your y axis, and here's 0, and these little increments represent time. Let's see, I'm not getting lines. This represents a timeline in the positive direction. I'm sorry, this thing's working a little slow. Okay, so as we go to the right, and this represents time. Okay, I'm sorry, this thing's not working correctly. So anyway, as you go to the right on the x-axis in a positive direction on time. So at this moment in time, whatever this moment is, there is an event that happens that is the bombing of the federal building. And at that moment, there happens to be a U.S. currency note that actually has an image of the bombing on it. That's absolutely insane. Okay, and then you're telling me that further down the road on this timeline, there's another event, the 9/11, and the bombing that happened on that moment in time, there is actually a U.S. currency note that has an image of that bombing. Not only in that bombing, but on the same note, there happens to be another bombing that happened the same day. Well, if you believe that, you live in some fairy land, because that's absolutely insane. That is complete and utter insanity. It's not possible. So here we go. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So now, you know, for the people that live in Fantasyland in Crazyville that say, oh, you're crazy, Jonathan Clegg, you're a false prophet. Okay. What part don't they understand? Well, let me use the Bible, okay? I'm going to use the Bible on everybody now. Okay, because I can clearly see what's going on here. I have no problem seeing it. And this is going to go further and go more in depth. This is going to go much deeper, much, much deeper. Because I'm going to show you who's behind it, and I'm going to show you everything that's going on. But I want to show you what the scriptures look like, because I'm going to show you anybody that denies this and that says they can't see it, or it's origami, or whatever it is. This is John chapter 9, and this is where Jesus heals a man that was blind from his birth. I myself was blind since I was born. I couldn't see spiritually. When I got saved in 2002, all of a sudden I could see everything. I mean, I could see everything. It was literally like being blind and then being able to see. I was like, oh my gosh, I could see everything. I could see that images that people had drawn of me before I got saved. Someone would draw an image and give it to me. I thought, what are you, a stalker? Are you creeping on me? Are you a freak? Or why did you draw a picture of me and give me a picture? You know, that's kind of creepy. And, you know, for some guy to walk up and say, hey, I drew a picture of you. Okay. Freaky. And when they did that, they had drawn images of dead sheep on my face. But I couldn't see that because I wasn't saved. They were mocking me. And let me show you what Jesus is talking about. So Jesus heals a man that was blind from his birth. And I want to show you something. And say, so they're grilling this guy's parents. They're grilling the guy that got healed. And they don't believe him. They're trying to say Jesus is evil. He's a sinner. And the parents don't want to get involved because they know they're going to throw him out of the synagogue. And so they go and they ask the blind guy again, how did you see? And they said, they called the blind man, the man that was blind said unto him, give God the praise. We know that this man is a sinner. We're talking about Jesus. And the blind man said, whether he be a sinner or no, I know not. One thing I know, that whereas I was blind, and now I see. Same thing as me. I used to be blind, but now I see. I see spiritually, beyond what most people can even imagine. It'll blow your mind. And they said to him again, what did he to thee? How opened he thine eyes? And he said, I've already told you, but you did not hear. Wherefore would you hear it again? Would you be his disciples? So he's like, hey, would you want to hear it again so you can be his disciples? And they're like, get out. They reviled him and they said, get out, you know. So they threw him out. That's what's going to happen to anyone whose eyes are open, and they're gonna cast you out. So it goes down here. It says, now since the world began, it was not heard that any man opened the eyes of one that was blind. If this man were not of God, he could do nothing. And then they answered and said unto them, thou was altogether born in sins, and thou dost teach us? ? And so they said, and they cast him out. They said, get out. So the Pharisees, they're a bunch of hypocrites. It's pure hypocrisy, religion, no real understanding of the scriptures. So then Jesus heard they had cast him out, and he went and found him. He said, dost thou believe on the Son of God? And he said, who is he, Lord, that I might believe on him? And Jesus said unto him, thou hast both seen him, because now he can see him, and it is he that talketh with me. When I got saved, I could see. I could perceive Christ. Right now, I'm buzzing. Like right now, my whole body is just like, whoa. Like the night I got saved. Right now, I'm just, the Holy Spirit is all over me. Because now I can see. And Jesus said, now here's what you need to lay it to heart. Lay this to heart right now. I just showed you the bombings of all the buildings in the United States on only 2 currency notes. I'm going to show you what's coming because I have the gift of prophecy. And I was able to show you what's already on the other notes. And I'll prove to you what's coming on the new currency notes. Now take this and lay this to heart. And Jesus said, for judgment, I am. He used the name of God. I am come into this world that they which see not might see, like myself, and they which see might be made blind. What he means is spiritually blind. And some of the Pharisees that were with him heard these words, and they said unto him, are we blind also? They're being smart alecks. And Jesus said unto them, look, now watch this very closely. If you were blind, you should have no sin. So Jesus is saying, hey, if you were really blind, like the guy just healed, that was like, could not see. He said, if you were actually blind, you should have no sin. But now you say, we see. Therefore your sin remaineth. And I would submit to every one of you I'm talking to, I don't care if you leave your nasty comment or not, it doesn't matter. You're not attacking me, you're attacking the one that sent me. You can either receive him and receive his messenger, or you can deny him and deny his messenger. I'm his messenger. If you don't believe me, go look at the meaning of Jonathan Kleck. Yahweh has given a messenger that rings the bell and gathers the church. And now he says, but you say you see, therefore your sin remaineth. So I will submit to you. If you can't see this, you're still in your sin. It's because you're still in your sin. How can you not see? How could you possibly not see that this right here is the federal building bombing? I just showed you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 windows. It's got these rounded corners. Look right here. Look at these rounded corners. Watch this. You see the rounded corner on this building right here? Right here. And this one right here? Now let's look at the side of that building. Let's look at the side of it. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 long rectangular openings in between these rounded corners. Okay, so you say you see. You say you see. Well, let's see if you really see. There's those rounded corners, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 long rectangular windows. Okay, I mean, if they want to try for plausible deniability, go for it. I don't care. It's what it is. That's the federal building bombing. And if you don't see, your sin remaineth, because you're spiritually blind. You can't see the truth. If you can't see the truth, then you're still in your sin, because Jesus is the truth. When you see the truth, you see Jesus. Okay, and now let's see who's behind this once again. I'm going to recap before we move on. So you go around the perimeter of the bill, you connect the vertices, and you have the sigil of Baphomet. What is the sigil of Baphomet? It is the official insignia of the Church of Satan. So who is bombing the money? Satan. Satan is bombing the buildings. Bombing the money. Bombing the buildings that are printed on the money. A little bit, you know. Sometimes I get going a little too fast. Here's the images of the smoke expanding and the building blowing up. Here's the building blown in half. Same thing, sigil of Baphomet. So that's who did it. Here you can match up the sides of the building that are left with the sides of the building that are left. And you can see the floors jutting out, identified clearly. I've identified them here, and they've been put in boxes as they have right here. Picture B7 and C3. Now let's move on to the new 20. There is the Twin Tower bombing. There is, if you draw around the perimeter of it, the sigil of Baphomet. Let's go down to the bottom real quick and look at the smoke. There the Twin Towers are with the smoke and the rubble expanding on picture I8 and I9. Let's go back up here. I'll have those moved for you so y'all can have them right alongside. So there is the Twin Tower bombing on the currency. There is the image of the impact up high, impact down low. Let's look at picture C9. We'll identify it one more time. There it is. Busted. That is just completely busted. So, can you see? Here is the Pentagon. There is a rectangular building on the backside of this same note. This note, you turn it over, and this image appears right above the horizontal line. If you crop it and you look at the image above the horizontal line, here is an image of that cropped piece. There it is. Rectangular building, 1, 2, 3 rows of square windows. And here is a giant cloud of smoke where an impact has happened, and there is another part of the rectangular building. It has been clearly identified. So now, Jesus said, if you were blind, you should have no sin. but you say we see, therefore your sin remaineth. If someone thinks that this is not true, your sin remaineth. I'm sorry. You are in total darkness. I am showing you the truth. If you don't see the truth, you are in darkness, or you're a minion of the devil. Either way, I don't care. That's the facts. Now, we had a new $100 bill come out, and we have an old $50 bill right here, and a new $50 bill, and we had a new $10 bill come out, which is right here. Let's do the $10 bill because I'm going to give you a prophetic utterance that the Lord gave me in 2008 before Barack Obama became president. This was posted in 2008. We did a video. It sat around on a camera for probably 6 to 8 months because I didn't know how to use YouTube and all that. I had to have a high schooler actually load it up for me because I didn't know how to chop it into 15-minute blocks and load it up. So I had a guy named Brandon Zelinsky, a high schooler, start a channel called Secret. He started the name. He wrote the name Secret Mystery Busted. Sounds like a high schooler, right? And it says Just a Messenger series. And you can go find that. I'll show you how to find it. I'm going to prove everything. I'm not just going to tell you. I'll prove everything that I tell you. So I'm going to open up a YouTube link, okay? And then I will type in here, Just a Messenger, Just a Messenger. It's all one word, Just a Messenger. And I will hit search. And there it is. That's me. See, I look a lot younger. And I was a lot thinner. I hadn't gone into my brutal pain management yet. Okay, see it says Secret Mystery Busted, Part 1. Let's do this. Okay, so here we go. Now, let's see.
Ready. Hi, my name is Jonathan Clark. I'm here with
this is somebody else messaging it. So here I am, and I'm doing a series. I did this before Obama was elected president, and I've got all the hieroglyph and all the stuff on the wall. And the Lord told me I had to go public in 2008. And I said no. I was busy in courts fighting for my kids, and I didn't want to jeopardize my kids' safety in court and not getting custody. I won custody twice, and still the enemy kept coming and coming and coming for my kids. Okay, I want to show you this part.
A little bit.
I'm going to go ahead and
see the
play
whole
it
thing
for you.
So you fold the bill in half, and then you fold it in half again. Now, some people would say that you're manipulating the bill to make an image that you want to see, but I'm going to have to contend to you that it may.
Okay. Now, here is the prophetic utterance the Lord gave
That's
me.
only in the $20 bills. Now.
Okay, so.
And I'm going to show you what those words mean.
Here we go.
And it's just fascinating. So let me just take
I remember I was quite overwhelmed.
I pray that you'll just speak those words through me again so that these people can hear it and understand. And I'm praying that you give everybody that watches this video the eyes to see and the heart to understand and the ears to hear. So thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, the hand of the oppressor has been lifted against you. And out of the sea shall come fire and smoke and a devouring wind. Water as high as the walls of Jerusalem shall cover the city by the sea, and great shall be the destruction of that city. And behold, the great wall which holds back the abundance of the rivers shall burst forth, bringing the hand of the oppressor against you, for I have seen it. For mighty is your enemy that is risen from within your own borders. Now behold the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place where it should not be. Here's the mystery made known to you. You are the holy place of which I speak. And the abomination of desolation shall rise from within the walls of the temple to destroy the temple. For have you not seen, and have you not heard, and has it not been made known to you? Have you not read the scriptures? For when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, they did bear children to them, and the same became mighty men. And has not the sea turned mighty? And the sea shall turn terrible before your very eyes, and the terrible one shall be elevated within the sea. And behold, the man of peace shall come forth from the sea. Barack Hussein Obama. And with words of peace, he will bring chaos and destruction. Behold the fig tree. It puts forth its leaves, and suddenly the time is upon you. The travail begins, and a holy nation is to be born, and it will not stop until that nation is brought forth.
Wow, my heart, I'm buzzing so hard right now. I mean, I am literally just like,
This is an appeal from
see, I'm about
God.
to cry. Look.
It's very serious stuff.
All
Once
right,
the
it
birth
clicked
pains
off.
begin,
I'm trying to pause the video. There we go. I tried to pause the video, but I ended up pausing the program. So anyway, so go watch that. Go watch the whole Just a Messenger series. If you don't believe that the Lord called me out, he called me in 2002 in an alley, folks, in the presence of an angel. So I don't care if anyone believes me. It doesn't matter. All I care about is what God thinks about me and whether or not I did what he asked me to do. So anyway, so in that prophetic utterance, let's get back to the new $10 bill. Okay. Behold, the hand of the oppressor has been lifted against you. And out of the sea shall come fire and smoke and a devouring wind. Water as high as the walls of Jerusalem will cover the city by the sea, and great shall be the destruction of that city. Okay, that's that first part of that utterance. Let me show you what he was talking about. This is amazing. You want to see supernatural? You like supernatural? Then watch this. Okay, so the Lord gave me words that match the new image on the new $10 bill. If you look at the old $10 bill, it was black in color. It had a double line around here. You know what? I'll just go show you the old $10 bill. That way you can see it for yourself, that it's very different. And the old $10 bill shows the Twin Towers actually burning. I don't want to go through all of it because I'll be here forever. Okay, so yeah, like I said, let's just take a quick look. We'll do Google Images. $10 bill. Okay. Enter. Okay, so here we go. Watch this. Okay, so this is the new $10 bill. It's orange in color. This is the old $10 bill. Let me show you something about the back. It wouldn't have worked. Let's see. Let me see the back. Okay, here, well, that's, I want to get the actual bill itself. Here we go. Let's see. I want to show you the back. There we go. Now you see these two double lines right here? You see these lines right here? This right here. These double lines were taken off the new $10 bill. These lines are not here. These trees have been changed a little bit. But this is black because this ends up making the Twin Towers burning when you fold it into a pentagram. It shows the Twin Towers all burning, engulfed in flames. It's a continuation of the $20 bill. But let me show you what we have now. So I'm going to go back to the new $10 bill. It's orange in color. They turned it orange. It's kind of orange. Well, what did the words of the utterance say? Behold, the hand of the oppressor has been lifted against you, and out of the sea shall come fire and smoke and a devouring wind. Okay, that's a nuke, folks. A devouring wind, an explosion that devours what's in front of it. That's a nuke. Obama recently said he's not worried about Russia. He's worried about a nuke going off in Manhattan. He's the Antichrist. You don't think Satan speaks through the guy? You got to be kidding. Okay, well, let's look at this. Let me show you some really bad trees. You see this tree over here? Let me get my drawing tool. You see this? You see this tree right here? Either there's a guy behind the building with a really big blower blowing leaves that are wrapping around the building, shooting up over the building, but that is not a tree. This is not a tree. The tension is all going this way. The tension's all going that way. Okay, well, this one over here, the same thing. The tension is going this way. Okay, the double line that was on the old $10 bill that went around this thing has been taken off. It's been removed. These are done with intent. The sky is orange. This becomes a sky because when there is a nuke, a devouring wind, this orange sky represents the burning, devouring wind. Now let's make this into a sigil of Baphomet, okay? Let's just go here. We're going to turn this into a sigil of Baphomet, just like the other bills. We're going to turn it into the spell. So here it is. We've turned it into a sigil. If you trace around the perimeter of the bill, we have the same thing. There it is, right around it. And if you connect the vertices, you have the sigil of Baphomet, the Church of Satan again. Okay, now remember, what were the words of that prophetic utterance? Behold, the hand of the oppressor has been lifted against you. And out of this sea, the ocean, shall come fire and smoke and a devouring wind. You're looking at this devouring wind. Water as high as the walls of Jerusalem. That's a really weird set of words right there. Water as high as the walls of Jerusalem will cover the city by the sea. Okay, that's pretty interesting set of words. Well, let's look at the $10 bill. I just showed you those same words back in the Just a Messenger series. Let me show you something. Let's take this. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to draw a line right here. Here's your building right here. There's your building. Let's just estimate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have arguably a 7-story building with a tidal wave coming over the building. Let me see something real quick. I want to try and move this down. There we go. Now watch this. Watch this. This is fascinating. You see, if I take this little pin and I draw in here for you, there's the 7-story building above that line. You see it? There's the building. This is the reflection of the building in the water. So you see this building's reflection in the water? Oh my gosh. Water, here's a tidal wave coming over a 7-story building. That's why those trees were made like that. Wow, check it out. Nuke, fire and smoke, water as high as the walls of Jerusalem, tidal wave shall cover the city by the sea. It's on your new $10 bill. Well, there's another part of that utterance, and it goes like this. And behold, the great wall, which holds back the abundance of the rivers, shall burst forth, bringing the hand of the oppressor against you for us. And what is a great wall that holds back the abundance of rivers? Well, rivers flow into a lake that, and a wall that holds back all that water is called a dam. It's called a dam. Well, here's an image of the Hoover Dam breaking. Let me show you something very interesting. And by the way, you can go look at a breakdown of this imagery on, these videos that I've done. There's a Hoover Dam destruction video. But let me show you something. Here's the old $50 bill. Let's analyze the bills. Okay, so here's the old $50 bill. Let me show you something very interesting. Okay, there's a double line that goes around this oval right here, just like the old $10 bill. See it? See the double line right there? There are no clouds in here. Under magnification, this turns into what looks like a scalar attack. This is really fascinating. So there are no clouds in here. There's a double line here. So let's make it into a sigil of Baphomet. Let's turn this whole bill into another sigil. Okay, so we're going to turn the $50 bill into a sigil. It is a representation of a dam. And these things right here identify it as the Hoover Dam. Now, agreed, it's not as flared out, but the water containment is across the top right here. That is made by those two lines that are on the back of the $50 bill. Let me show you again. The back of the $50 bill right here has these two lines right here that make the water containment on the dam. So behold the great wall which holds back the abundance of the rivers. Here, okay, so here's a $50 bill with an image of a dam on it. Here is the new $50 bill that came out. Look, what is the difference? There's clouds here. That double line has been taken off. Let's have a look. So now we have the new 50 and that double line that was on here that went around the oval, the line that went like this, that double line has been taken off. Now there's clouds that have been added inside the oval. See these clouds? What's really fascinating about this is all these clouds, they make unidirectional lines under magnification. All the lines go the same direction. And you'll see this under magnification. They all go the same direction. All this stuff. So you'll see that under magnification. So I'm going to delete that. Now let's go make a sigil out of the new $50 bill. Behold the great wall, the dam, which holds back the abundance of the rivers, shall burst forth, bringing the hand of the oppressor against you. Let me show you this. No, that's the wrong image. I'm sorry, I clicked on the wrong one. That's with the wall up. Here we go. There it is, right here. So the clouds, the white of the clouds, under examination without magnification, look, the water containment is missing, and the clouds make water moving over the dam. Look at the spillway down here. See down here? Even a spillway. Well, that's fascinating because, watch this. Let's magnify this image right here under that old program of 1995 Paint Shop, Windows 95 Paint Shop Pro, and a scanner that will no longer do this. Watch this. Here's that same image. Wow, there's all the water bursting over the dam. And behold, the great wall which holds back the abundance of the rivers shall burst forth, bringing the hand of the oppressor against you. For I have seen it, says the Lord. For mighty is your enemy that is risen from within your own borders. Now, it's not just the borders of the United States, it's within the borders of humanity. And that will be in our next section when we do the alien thing. Because the abomination that causes desolation is what's risen from within the borders of the human temple, which is us. The abomination, that thing that is abhorrent, detestable, which is the serpent seed, the alien thing. The abomination, the alien seed, serpent seed, of desolation that causes desolation, which makes desolate the temple of God, which is us. So, mighty is your enemy that is risen from within your own borders, the borders of the United States, as well as the borders of the temple of God, which is our body. So, here it is. Behold, the great wall which holds back the abundance of the rivers, here it is, shall burst forth, bringing the hand of the oppressor against you, for I have seen it, says the Lord. You're looking at it. You're looking at it. Of course he's seen it. And he's showing it to me to show it to you. And there it is. Now, the new $100 bill came out. And boy, oh boy, is the new $100 bill telling. So now let's identify the Hoover Dam before we go on. Okay, so let's look at the water flowing on picture G4 and look at underneath it. There's the water coming over the dam. It's gonna happen. New York is gonna get nuked, and I'll show you more of that in just a second. Let's look at the new $100 bill because the Lord showed that to me. It's very profound. I want you to look at this picture first. So this is a picture, an image of water ripping through downtown New York. See all the water going up against the walls of the buildings and covering all the people that are in their cars? You see that? It's very obvious. It's from a movie called The Day After. There you go. You see, look at the vertical lines. Pay attention to the vertical structures and the open space in between this open space right here in between the vertical structure. Look at the water going up the walls right here, hitting and splashing up. You see that? Okay, well, let me show you where this is going. Let's get the new $100 bill. By the way, on the new $100 bill, there's a bell on it. Watch this. I'm going to show you something. The $100 bill. Inside this inkwell, if you hold it up to the light, there's a bell. Also, there's a strip here that's a hologram. It's got images of a bell. When you hold it and you go like this, the bell will be ringing back and forth. This is Satan's way of ringing the bell himself. He's saying, I'm ringing the bell. I'm going to destroy New York. That's what he's saying on this bill. That is the message. Just like the message of the federal building was, I'm going to bomb the federal building, and it's going to look like this. The message of the Twin Towers sigil was, I'm going to bomb the Twin Towers. It's going to look like this. Satan's message is always on the money. There's a bell inside this inkwell. Go look at it. Hold it up to the light. Look at this strip right here and tilt it back and forth. You'll see a bell going ding. I am Yahweh has given a bell ringer. I'm showing you the bell before Satan rings his bell. I'm a precursor. I have the gift of prophecy. You saw it back in the Just a Messenger series. This is without question what is going to happen. The other stuff on the other bills happened. What's on these bills will happen. Let me go back to the U.S. currency on the show notes. Here we go. Okay, let's get down to the $100 bill. Okay, so we have the water ripping through. We have the water ripping through. Let me go up here. There's the $100 bill. So here's the new $100 bill. Let me show you what's going on. When you turn the bill over on the back side, you have this imagery right here, okay? You got the bell here, you got the bell here. Now, watch this. So let's make a sigil out of the $100 bill. Let me show you what's on the back side of the bill. Right here, you have the fin of a missile impacting the water. Here's the water splashing up, the missile going this direction. Here is, I'll draw the fin in. There's the fin of the missile going into the water. And then here's the impact or the splash. And this has several layers too. And the missile is going in. That shows the missile impacting the water. Okay, well, let's have a little closer observation. Here it is, up close. There's the missile impacting the water, going in the water. Well, let's look on the other side of the bill now. Y'all ready? Here we go. Remember that image I showed you of the water ripping through in between the buildings? Let me show you that image, and you can see the contrail of the missile coming down. Now, it's easier to see the contrail, which is right here, This will be the contrail going down, making impact right here, and one over here. Okay, this is the water coming in. Here it comes between the buildings. Da-da-da-da. Here it all comes. You see it? And here's a building. It's going to come over a building. Here's all of the water. Here are the buildings right here. There's the building. There's the building. Okay? There's the building. Here's your big nuke. Water and nuclear destruction. Now this is really fascinating because I put this in that old program. I was able to see the different layers. It literally shows the buildings being blown apart just like a nuclear wind would take the buildings apart. That's in it's in a $100 bill. Here, let me show you where to go to look at the video. You can go on, you know what, just go on YouTube and type in $100 bill nuclear devastation. Okay, and go watch it on the Jonathan Kleck channel. Paul Joseph Watson did a thing on it. It's got 10 million views. It's funny. You might have to type in my name behind it. The Jonathan Kleck channel. Okay, then do that and see him. Okay, there you go. Here it is. New $100 bill. Nuclear devastation. Let's have a look.
Hey guys, this is a mega news flash. You guys...
Let me pause it. Let me just move this down so I can grab the bar. Let's see. So I show you these other images that are on the money. And then I show you what it's going to look like. And then I go through showing you what it is.
Contrail coming in.
There it is.
Missile exploding. This is going to be New York City.
Okay, now let me show you some. Let me find where we go through the program where it shows it. There it is, right here. At the 2-minute 55-second mark, watch closely.
And they're going to be destroying the city.
Y'all see the other layers of ink? Look at that. This is hard. You can't reproduce this with the new copiers. They won't let you. The new scanners will not let you reproduce this. So you guys put this stuff on your hard drive. This is big time. Watch.
There it goes. There it is. See it?
Wow, look. Look at that other layer. Now, here comes that devouring wind. Watch the buildings. Watch.
See how
boom. Oh my gosh. You got to be kidding me. You're telling me that's possible.
Down, and they're going to be destroying the city. Watch. Here it goes. There it is. See it? See how it changed? See how it gets all fluffy? Boom.
Wow, look at that. There you go. Sigil of Baphomet. I told you, I'm a harbinger. I just proved court admissible evidence. I'm a harbinger. I've been called by the Lord God, Yahweh. I'm a messenger of Yeshua HaMashiach. Jesus, Yeshua. Don't get hung up on names, people. Don't get all legalistic. It's ridiculous. You either have the indwelling spirit of Christ in you, or you're one of these people that, you can't say Jesus. Oh, that's ridiculous. Yes, if you want to get technical, it's Yahshua. Yahushua. Well, who's doing all this? Who the hell is doing this? How is this possible? Stay tuned for part 2, where we stay tuned for part 2, where we go into the alien agenda. And let me give you guys some scriptures, and we'll just go look this up, because everybody gets kind of weird. There's a lot of weird stuff when you get to the religion. People get really freaky. I mean, really weird. It's like, I'm just giving you court admissible evidence. Well, watch this. When you start talking about aliens, oh, there are no aliens. And you who were alienated and enemies in your mind once you were alienated from God. What does alienated mean? By definition, it means separated. The word alienated itself, by definition, means separated. So we're supposed to be reconciled to God. Reconciled. Look, I'm going to show you some definitions because everybody needs to see this. Okay? You know what? I'm just going to get a new search up. So you guys better understand some basic definitions. So we're all supposed to be reconciled to God. So definition of reconciled. And we become, to reconcile means we all become ambassadors of reconciliation. The Bible says, be reconciled to God through Christ. To be reconciled, you had to know someone before it, by definition. Court admissible. It is impossible to be reconciled to someone who you've never known. So you had to know Christ before. It's impossible. Or you throw the Bible in the trash. Because it says, be reconciled to God through Christ. We are ambassadors of reconciliation. What does reconcile mean? To restore friendly relations between. Because there is a good you and there is a bad you. One right side up, one upside down you. Your own self is your own worst enemy. So, be reconciled to God, and we become ambassadors of reconciliation. Colossians 1:21 through 1:23. And then, so let's go look at that. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's look at KJV. And you that were sometime alienated and enemies in your mind by wicked works, yet he is now reconciled. So let's go look up Colossians 1:21. We already looked at John 9, so you already saw that. So let's go look up Colossians 1:21. Oops. Okay. And you that were sometimes alienated and enemies in your mind by wicked works, yet now he has reconciled. See right there? In the body of his flesh through death to present you holy and unblameable and irreprovable in his sight. Wherein I am made a minister according to the dispensation of God, which was given to me for you, to fulfill the word of God. We all become ministers of reconciliation. Okay, now I want to show you one more thing before we hang up before we hang up this particular venue. Okay. His purpose, what was Jesus' purpose? What was his purpose? Was to make one new man from the two. Because you're two different things. You're good and bad, good and evil. Just like an image of the cross right side up and one upside down. Peter was crucified upside down because he represented everything evil. Jesus was crucified on the cross because he represented everything good. Ephesians 2:15. So let's go look at Ephesians 2:15. Let's see. Ephesians 2:15. I'll give you some scripture before we start our next segment. Okay? So make sure you guys understand the scriptures, because I will argue the scriptures all day long with you. And anyone that wants to come up against this information, it's all the scriptures. This is the opening of the scriptures. It's the unrolled scroll. So, by the way, when you unroll a scroll, you unroll it up and down at the same time. Here we go. Okay. Okay. There we go. For he himself is our peace, who hath made both one. Why do you think Jesus was crucified in between two different guys? One guy Dismas and the other guy Dismas. One guy is repentant and good. He made a mistake. He was willing to admit it. The other guy was evil and wicked. That's your condition. That's why Jesus is in between, reaching out to both sides with his arms stretched out to both sides, joining the two together in Christ to go back to the Father. That's what that is all about. His purpose was to he who hath made both one and has broken down the middle wall of partition between us, having abolished in his flesh the enmity. Where have you seen the word enmity? Genesis 3. I will put enmity between the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. It's in you. Even the law of the commandments contained in ordinances, for to make in himself of twain, of the two, one new man, so making peace. Because you're at odds with yourself. And so Jesus is the only one that can bring the two halves of you, flip one and bring them together, that he might reconcile both to God in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity. It's the word of God. Okay, so now, court admissible evidence, $50 bill, sigil of Baphomet, Hoover Dam breaking, $100 bill, sigil of Baphomet, New York being nuked, $10 bill, tidal wave covering New York, sigil of Baphomet, $20 bill, new one, bombing of the Pentagon, bombing of the Twin Towers, sigil of Baphomet, sigil of Baphomet. Oklahoma City federal building bombing, blown in half, sigil of Baphomet. Oklahoma City bombing, Alfred P. Morris side of the building, blowing up, sigil of Baphomet. I have made my case. Period. Those that don't see it, I'm calling you out. John chapter 9. Therefore your sin remaineth, because you say we see. Okay. Peace and grace. This is part 1. It will be uploaded to YouTube today. I will let this run for 2 days before I start part 2. Part 2 will be the alien. Start looking at it. Get ready. The scriptures you're going to want to know for part 2. Let me just show you the scriptures you should know for part 2. I want you to understand that when people wink their eye at you and they stick out their tongue at you, that is a fulfillment of prophecy, people. Everyone's like, no, it's not. Yeah, it is. I'll prove it. I'll use the scriptures always. I will always use the scriptures to prove my point, because I'm a minister of reconciliation. I have been sent by the Lord God to ring a bell. Picture J1. Go to alien folder. Psalm 35:19. Neither let them that are mine enemies wrongfully rejoice over me, neither let them wink the eye that hate me without cause. So I've been in the presence of people that wink at me. That's how I knew Alex, the kid at Starbucks, would draw a picture of me with a dead sheep on my face, because I knew he was my enemy. How did I know? He was winking at me and sticking out his tongue. That is in the Bible. Jesus said in John 15:25, here, let's look it up. I'm going to go to John 15. First, I'm going to show you Psalm 35:19. You better look these up. Be ready for it on your next video. Psalm 35:19. Here it is. Let not them that hate me that are mine enemies, let not them that are mine enemies wrongfully rejoice over me. Neither let them wink the eye that hate me without a cause. So whoever hate this in the Bible, David, don't let them wrongfully rejoice over me, my enemies, neither let them wink the eye that hate me without cause. So those that hate him without cause, what do? They wink at him. There it is. Now, let's go and look and see another scripture. Let's look at John 15, which is Jesus talking. This is open your Bibles, it should all be in red. John 15:25. He's talking about if the world hates you, know that it hates me. He's saying, hey, if you belong to the world would love you, but you don't belong to the world. I've called you out of the world. If the world hates you, know it hated me before it hated you. So he's talking about the world hating you. He's talking about the world hating him. What did it say? Neither let them that are wrongfully my enemies rejoice over me, or those that hate me without cause wink at me. That's what it said in 35:19. So let's get here. So Jesus comes and does the works of his Father. He says, now they have both seen and both hated. They have both seen and hated both me and my Father, because he came and did the works. That's why when I do the works God sends me to do, people hate me because they're of the world. I'm not of the world. I'm in the world, but I'm no longer of the world. I've been called out of the world. So watch this, verse 25. But this cometh to pass, that the word might be fulfilled. So Jesus is saying, this came to pass that the word of God might be fulfilled, that is written in their law. Here it is. They hated me without cause. There it is. Verse Psalm 35:19. Do not let them that hate me without cause wink at me maliciously. Because those that hate you, they'll wink at you. They'll claim they're Christians, but they're not. Just like they say they are Jews and are not. Okay, so anyway, we've wrapped up the currency. And now we're going into the alien thing. And to understand the alien thing, you better commit these scriptures to memory. I will give you 2 days, max. And then I'm going into all this. And get ready. You're going to want to know Isaiah 29:15 and 16 also. And then I'm going to show you mind-destroying stuff, mind-boggling. And so get ready. Here we go. I hope you guys get this.